Hi, my name is Madelyn. I live in Dallas with my husband, Chris, and we have an 18-month-old daughter. Her name's Helena. And so Helena is our second daughter. Our very first daughter, Amelia, was born in December 2016, and she was stillborn. So we have Amelia, we have Helena, and then we're pregnant with our third, who's just 10 weeks, along so far. So we are so thankful for our family. Our family came together differently than we expected. We were hoping for a baby for about 6 months, and then we got the positive pregnancy test, and we were still on the track that a lot of parents are on, where they think, okay, 9 months, new baby, all the challenges of having a new baby, blah, blah, blah. Your brain moves on so quickly, it's hard to even appreciate that one moment you're in the very beginning of early pregnancy. So we scheduled our appointment with our OB, and he was this great Catholic guy. I really loved him from the beginning, and I remember that appointment, talking, laughing, videotaping, being so excited, having our phones out. And then we started the ultrasound, and everything went silent. So we knew pretty early on something was off. So we found out that our daughter Amelia, she had Turner syndrome. She had something called a cystic hygroma. She later developed hydrops. She had a lot of complications for a baby in utero. We were very plugged into our communities, and we had people praying all over the world. We had families, we had children praying, and having all of those prayers really gave me a sense of hope. I felt like we are probably going to get our miracle. And that sounds pretty bold, but I didn't have anything else that I could possibly think while being pregnant with this baby. So I was just thinking, yeah, I guess we're all going to pray and everything will work itself out, and there's nothing else I can do, so it's just in God's hands. And we got ultrasounds every week. We were looking to see how our baby progressed. We were looking to see if there wasn't a heartbeat. This whole time, praying, waiting for God to do something. And eventually at 21 weeks, we found that there was no more heartbeat. So we very quickly had to come to the realization that God wasn't going to answer the prayer in the way that we wanted. So we had our baby. We had a really beautiful delivery with friends and family. And we didn't know any different, so we didn't know what birth was supposed to be like. Our quiet birth wasn't so unusual to us really then. And then I think the hardest part started, really. After a very difficult pregnancy, filled with depression and extreme sickness, things got worse. So we were trying to figure out, what do we do now? In a way, we felt like we had let down all of our friends and family who had prayed. We were incredibly let down by God. And there just really wasn't any easy reconciling of that. We tried, retreats and special prayers, special saints, time away from work, time with friends, time away just quietly, the two of us. And there was really nothing that was going to bridge that, the gap of grief. So there's this thing called the U diagram that I learned about, and it helped me with my grief a lot. And it's this idea that the Triduum, that Jesus's death and resurrection is really in the shape of a U. And so, we start off with Jesus dying a violent and horrible death, with many of his closest people there to see it. And then, we all know that we have Easter Sunday, where Jesus rose from the dead. And I think what a lot of us Christians forget in our everyday life is that we also have Saturday. So we have Good Friday, and then we go down into the depths of our grief on Saturday, and then we are surprised by the hope of the resurrection on Sunday. So for us in our grief, we had, I thought, a long drawn out grief of having this difficult pregnancy, but really I feel like the trauma really happened in an instant. Maybe that moment when we had a baby, not a living, breathing baby, but we had a baby going into the hospital and we left without one. Maybe if we just take that one moment as my Good Friday, we had a long Saturday. We had so many days of being confused and being scared and hiding from our problems. We experienced Saturday alone and with friends, with professionals, priests, counselors, spiritual directors. And then I think that whenever we met our second daughter, Helena, that was our Easter Sunday. I don't think that the life that comes after death always looks the same. With Jesus, obviously, he died on the cross and he rose again, and we know that story. But for us, I think we're always writing our stories and trying to figure out where God is taking us and where God is going to give us the gift of newness and of hope restored. For us, I think we questioned if we would ever trust God again. I know I questioned if I was ever going to let God in. I questioned whether it was worth it or what he was doing. If he wasn't going to heal our baby, then what was the point? I had a lot of very selfish thoughts of, like, if he's not going to do this for me, then what am I going to do for him? I don't think I have anything to give now. So scripture tells us that God makes all things work for his good. And I sometimes want to make things so simple and think, our daughter Amelia died to bring us closer to God, or, think of something that just makes sense. But I don't think that we know that as parents. I think we're always trying to figure out the ending to our stories before we're even halfway through them. I don't know why Amelia died. I don't know why this is the journey that we went on. Jesus came to comfort those who are mourning. He came to give us all new life. And even though our Amelia wasn't resurrected the day after that she died, I know that we will meet again. I know that she's in heaven and we will all experience the resurrection for ourselves. I know this because of the gift of faith that God gave me, not because I read enough of my Bible or because I attended enough masses. I know this in the very, very depths of my heart, only because God placed it there. And if I could tell any one thing to a parent who's struggling with any sort of loss, I think I would tell them that there's only so much that they can do. And that's a hard thing to hear because it was hard for me to experience that I couldn't do anything to save my baby. But that lesson that I didn't want to learn during the pregnancy is the lesson that I'm constantly learning now. And it's that I just have to show up and I have to open myself up to God. And I have to ask him to fill me. I have to ask him to meet me more than halfway, because I'm very human, and thankfully God is God, and only he can heal what's broken. Only he can fill what is empty, and only he can restore and bring back to life what's died. So it's in the hope of Jesus Christ that we can move on and that we can continue to find joy and find peace in God.